Okay, 7:30, we'll call this meeting to order. We start with a roll call.
Tim Young, Mark Blackmore, Joseph Avalon, Dean Gould, Sid Blodgett,
David Morris.
Aaron Farbo,
Joe Palulik.
John Day.
Dwight Reinowitz.
Great, thank you very much. How many days? We need a total of 9. I think it's 9. I think it's not all together.
it's mine.
So, we go alphabetically and, have John Day to the meeting. Does it have a full member? And we'll get you next time, Web. Okay, now we'll, start the meeting.
Nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate the effort everybody makes to get here. So that's it for my report. We can sit some comments on subjects that we're not going to discuss tonight.
Yeah, I spoke with Delia and she, I just had like a preliminary thing there.
Yeah, we're gonna add that to the agenda. Is that for the?
Yeah, so you guys are
Snack
both on
House?
this. I'm sorry?
Yeah, that's for Snacks House.
So actually,
Yeah, we're gonna add that.
Okay.
Now, when do we add the? Now. Now. Okay. So we have 2 items we need to add to the agenda. The,
In the future, do that when you open the meeting,
okay,
okay?
Yep.
Right at the beginning.
we need to add the Snacks House discussion, preliminary discussion, and we need to add, vote on, change the July 3rd meeting because it meets on a day that. All. So, we're going to do.
Move to that we add those 2 items to the agenda. New business.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any extensions? Thank you. So we'll add those under, new business. Meetings, January 29, minutes, January 29. January. 29. Okay, January 9. I have 2 copies. So. Second. Favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm abstaining.
On to new business. Do you have somebody here for the maker section? John Leo, are you here for the major subdivision? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. What was the question? So
Asking if-
I have all the paperwork. I actually have the plans and everything. I went back to
No.
Woodstock 2 days ago and picked up my mail and I have it. So
John, no, we're asking if there's anybody here. If anybody online is with the
I'm sorry.
major subdivision.
I'm sorry.
No,
Apologize.
that's fine. John Leo, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me? No, I am not.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we're. There's nobody else on. We just. Look at the application. Everything, I think, got everything done. I think they all. Cameron, reviewed it. It's all set, except over that one lot.
Yeah, there's a few questions I have and some things that need to change for the, before the public hearing, ideally. And I listed those 3 points that I had in the memo that I sent out.
Were they addressed?
Not yet. We should still, I think there should still be public hearing should still be scheduled to give them time to address them before the public hearing. And I put in my memo that the next soonest meeting that we could have the public hearing at would be February 20th.
There. You can have the public hearing. What about that fifth lot? That's May.
It didn't meet, it didn't meet NDDH's requirements. It's not on us to determine if, we can't make a decision based on NDDH requirements for that lot, so because they could meet NDDH requirements. So we can,
Well, they have time to make the meeting.
yeah,
Satisfy the party.
that's why I think we should schedule it that way. We'll have a date.
What's the first?
February 20th.
A question, David.
Yes.
What were the 3 items that you asked me?
So the first item was that they don't specify in their application who will own the open space that they've set aside, who will own and manage the open space. So I wanted that clarified. The second point was that under their current plan, lot 4 will own the common driveway. And they need a legal document to show what lot's going to own that and what the plan would look like. And I think it would be better for the commission to have a copy of what that would look like prior to it being voted on. And my third point was that in our zoning regulations, we have a specific way things need to be shown on the plan for the signing block, the signature block. And the current plans don't have that right signature block for that. So the signature block on the plan needs to be updated.
Okay, well, I have some technical issues from looking at it. First of all, I was quite upset that they did not have a stormwater management plan on the drawings. So that was one thing, but then Dan showed me that they do have a stormwater management plan, okay? But there's nothing shown on the drawing. Well, for instance, they've got a potential stormwater basin right there at the base of lot 1, at the base of that hill, where the slope goes down and then comes back up again. They don't have any sizing for it and no details for it. Okay, you look at, see the area I'm talking about? It's not far from where the cistern for the, fire department is. Okay, so that needs to be detailed. Another thing is, there's no waterway for the outlet of the culvert that comes underneath, Route 198. All they're doing is just showing that it's discharging. Well, it discharges directly down towards the reserve area and the primary area for lot number 1. So you can still discharge it down through there, but there should be a waterway, a grassed waterway or something to convey that water beyond the septic system. So that needs to be shown, and the details for it should be shown. And those are just two of the quick items that I saw right away, having reviewed many, many subdivisions in the past. I was very surprised there were no details for this kind of information on the drawing.
I just wanted to point out that this isn't the public hearing yet. We shouldn't have a lot of discussion. We need to save that discussion for the public hearings.
We're relaying comments to the applicant, Wetlands Commission, and I both had a concern that was beyond our jurisdiction, snow shelf. Driveway.
And so can we be discussing this now? We should save this for the public hearing.
You want to send all your comments to Cameron, then we can discuss in the public hearing.
But they could also be presented to the applicant now, so that they, yeah, oh, I know, but in a written format. Yeah. Okay,
If you send me any questions, I can forward them to the applicant.
did you send that letter that you have in our packet to the applicant?
Yep.
And have you gotten any response on those 3 items yet?
No.
Okay, all right. And the suggestion to have design professionals look at this is certainly appropriate.
That's very standard, as well as review the ENS bond, that's standard.
Okay,
But you have to vote
on these drawings, or should we wait till after the public hearing in case there are additional
no, you just vote to send it to them. Guys, we're not authorized to encumber the expense.
I would make, if it's appropriate now, I'd make a motion to send the plans to design professionals for their review.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Did you recommend my attention to the need?
Mark was with you.
Did that explain what we need to change on here?
The agenda doesn't have the applicant's name or the application number. We practiced through the minutes of the agenda and then the eventual Mylars. It should be on the agenda.
The application number is on it, as well as the name.
Was the agenda revised, but I never got a copy of it.
Yes, it is revised. And if I'm posted online, it's revised one. Sorry, it's the second copy.
I was told the agenda would not be revised this way. Wasn't aware of it was.
Is there anything else? I just. New again, regarding the first subdivision here for me, so. We need to set a date for the public hearing. Is there anything else we need to put on for?
So I had a question.
Yes, John.
Can you guys hear me? So, the NDDH next lot number 5, where does it go from there? Are they gonna present that after they fix the ledge issue, or are they gonna just do it with 4 lots, or how does this thing proceed from there?
That's the kind of discussion we need to save for the public hearing.
Okay. Got it.
So, we set that for the February 20th, 22nd, 20th, 20th. And that gives us plenty of time to get notice? Yep. Then we have a motion to, set the public hearing for February 20th. On second.
7 foot at what time?
Oh, yeah, 7:45 is what we usually do? At 7:45.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Okay, so now we'll go on to, next house.
Yeah, so,
Could you say your name directly?
Quinn Stevenson,
Okay, thank you.
I was looking at it as, you know, in order to preserve the building, I don't really see any value as a single family. Roof leaking. It's overgrown, it's not, you know, it's not really, I can't see anybody going there and dumping over $1 million into that place. To reside that close to the road, and you have a lot that big, so it's either gonna get torn down. Or, look at it in an alternative use. You know, by preserving the integrity of the property. So I was proposing condos. 4 condos in that existing building and then, an additional 4 condos. Once another portion of the lot. Which also versus multifamily, you know, multifamily, you get a lot of renters. I don't really think the community would start to, like, I have some rental property and, my applicants aren't really, you know, always the best people. They don't treat people very well. And I think that, it would preserve the community more so as condos, because they're, you know, you'd have actual property owners that are paying taxes versus,
Well, Woodstock is desperate for renting.
yeah. I just don't think the density wouldn't be favorable for, you know, to do that in that regard. I mean, I was looking at it as condos, you know,
Okay.
a separate, yeah, I mean, it's a nice lot, you know, there's a lot of great forestry on that land, like there's some really great trees, so, you know, like 150-year-old trees that I haven't seen anywhere else, you know, locally. I just think that it would be a good setting on the water to, you know, to bring in more people into the community. So, ultimately, I don't own the property, but on the chance that I did own the property, that's what I would be seeking, would be to, you know, preserve the structure, the existing structure, and, you know, do some kind of sister structure, complementary, you know, complementary in architecture, standpoint. Is there any other additional details that, you know, I mean, on at a preliminary hearing, what kind of information do you want? Or you, for feedback?
What? That's all allowed.
You would have to follow the multifamily regulations and you need a special permit.
So, but it wouldn't be a subdivision, because it's all
That's
one.
correct.
So,
It would require a special permit.
yeah, yeah, understand.
Unless, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we want. A1, survey, A2.
Yeah,
So I mean, you probably have to have that done if you're gonna do condos.
oh, exactly. Now what about the change in use, because I know right now. The use, oh, okay.
And, you know, Northeast District Department of Health and.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I did a quick site plan to the scale and everything, all checked out, consulted with an engineer. Everything checked out, and you see if there were would be any potential objections to that type of project.
So it meets all the rules and regulations for the things.
Yeah,
That's very bad. You know, you have to have a public hearing and, you know, the neighbors will come in and I don't know what they'll do.
Yeah.
That's. Does anybody else have any comments? So,
how big of a lot is it?
10 acres, 10.2. Well, for 8 condo units, I don't think you could get 10, I don't know if I'd wanna squeeze 10,
Yeah,
but, ultimately, if everything else check the boxes with the setbacks with the water. I mean, I don't know if we get the 10, but I definitely think it would be. good.
things that are gonna restrict you, of course, and water supply, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
yield from the well. Or 2 wells or whatever, and the area needed for septic.
yeah, I think there's plenty of it, like, it's checked out, you know, between my discussion with engineer and the site plan that I quickly made up, everything, it seemed like we met all the setbacks, 807 feet of frontage, so. There's plenty of frontage.
Okay, thanks.
One question I did have would be about the conservation land. Feel like I'm kind of unclear about what's expected. I know you can pay a fee. But I mean. 50% of the lot,
So if it's not subdivision, it's for conservation, but nothing.
the other just mentioned.
Based on the zoning regulations.
Really the multifamily housing regulations, right? So we're like,
Right, in that section, there is a requirement for open space.
no less than 50% of the gross buildable acreage.
You're not gonna build 5 acres of house.
But
When they say that 50%, that's.
The
Footprint
land,
of the, I know, but the 50%, that is. Buildings can't cover.
no, it's talking about the area that has to be open space. So 50% of the buildable land would be open space, and then you put your building, your new buildings, as long as they met the setbacks on the other one.
Isn't the whole lot about 20 acres?
I think it's 10, it's just 10.2, I believe.
Push an exit house. is
Yeah,
only
yeah.
10. That's pretty 5 acres.
Yeah, but I think there's like an overlap with the wetlands, it can't include wetlands, correct?
Right,
Correct. So, conservation. Yeah. It's kind of hard to see how you get 5 acres. Conservation land
It's half,
and all these buildings.
half the buildable acres.
Yeah,
So does the buildable acreage include the setbacks or? Or is it the whole parcel that's not wetland?
and what it means by buildable is not too steep and not wet, not waterfront.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is the diagram that he provided.
Do you know how much of that land is wetlands?
There's nothing wet except by the water, I don't know. If it's set.
I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if it was a town map, so.
If you wanna take a few minutes, I can go on the GIS and see what they show.
so on this map, there's something called conservation, was that part of the 10 acres?
That's, yeah, that was just proposed, like, based off what I decided from the.
Oh, okay.
Regularly. Like, I assumed it would be in that rear portion.
And the townhouse units, the visioning 2-bedroom, 2-bedroom.
Well, I think you're limited to 5,000 square feet for the building itself, that would be like 1,250 square feet per unit, so. I mean, maybe 3 ones, maybe 3 twos, or, you know. Probably 1 bathroom, I don't know if you get a garage, you might get a garage, depends on the elevation, but.
Yeah.
I see on the map where you're looking at putting the buildings, but in what got marked out as, possible. What is I can't even picture the land, so is it all basically buildable land?
So like if you see, I don't know if you can see it on the document you have, but probably about 1,500 feet into the property from the road, it drops off. It's almost like a plateau, it's pretty steep going down to the water. You got about, maybe 60 feet before it starts to climb uphill. There's one portion that's pretty steep, but most of it towards the water is but it flattens out quite a bit in the proposed.
So the steepest portions may not be considered buildable. but
Yeah, so
if
that's
If they're over that slope, then it would, affect your open space calculation.
but the open space can include the area that's not included in frontage, correct?
It
Yes.
can include the spaces within the setbacks.
So it can't, okay, so 200-foot setback, it can be from the road,
Right, goes to the boundary
yeah,
of your open space. It's calculated on 50% of the buildable area of the entire parcel.
yeah, okay,
You don't have to like deduct for.
yeah, exactly.
But is it, so if there's 6 acres buildable, 50% is the way is 3. Is that, it's not buildable? You got 4 acres that's not buildable. Is that the conservation area, the set aside area?
It doesn't allow the land that's wetlands or steep
Okay, so it's steep, it doesn't count.
over
so
the
it's only-
steep
okay,
that's set in the
so-
regulations. That doesn't count as buildable and it can't count as open space.
Gotcha.
I just wanted to point out that the statutes don't authorize you to require open space when it's not in a subdivision. But it's in your regulations, so you might think about that in the future when you revise them.
Like 12 to 60%.
No, like removing it.
Trying to think positively.
Yeah, so that's your limiting calculation.
Oh, it's ultimate, yeah. So, buildable.
So you have to get your buildable land designated.
Yeah.
Then figure.
That was kind of that last comment you made, the gray area, it's not required, but for subdivision it is, for the overlap.
The state doesn't have regulations, these are town regulations.
Yeah, but Delia mentioned, yeah,
Because it's in our regulations, it can be required.
yeah,
It's just not in the state statute, so.
you have to go look at it.
No,
You could, if you wanted to, so
Sure.
you'd have to make that case to the ZBA,
Yeah,
the different group.
that's in order to, not,
Not have to provide open space.
or less. Any other comments or questions from the board?
Kind of a quick one, and you may not know the answer, but out of curiosity, do you have any idea how much you'll be charging for one of these condo units?
I mean, it depends, I mean, the ones in the actual building are gonna be significantly larger because it's already 9,500 square feet, you're limited to 5,000 on the construction. So, there would be a price difference between the two, so you'd have two different caliber units to offer as well. Probably, I think in construction condos, you probably, for the smaller ones, I think you'd probably be 300 to 350, and then the bigger ones might be around the 400,000.
So the existing building is non-conforming in a few different ways, but he's not proposing to make it any closer to the boundary line or any closer to the neighboring house. So if he's not gonna make his non-conformity worse, he can continue that non-conformity. And I was thinking that I didn't notice this earlier when I discussed it with you on the phone. It says no multifamily structure shall contain more than 4 dwelling units, no more than 5,000 square feet. So I don't know how that plays into it, but you have a valid legal non-conforming building.
But yeah, it's grandfathered. I can't, I'm not gonna knock down part of the building to satisfy it.
So I'm not sure if that would require a waiver or not. Look into that, I guess.
From what you're saying, if it's the building's 9,000 square feet, now you said,
What,
James?
yeah,
but the regulation for the multi dwellings cannot be over 5,000,
For the whole building, not for the individual
Right.
unit.
but this other one is at 9,000 now. But it's one dwelling now,
It's not a
So-
dwelling, it was used as the church retreat.
okay,
I mean, it was a dwelling like,
so
Some
can that be
years ago.
made into making the 4 condos? Because that's gonna be over the 5,000.
but that's what my question was, when he called me on the phone, I didn't think about that part, we talked about all the other things. But all the other non-conformities are allowed to continue, like he's closer to the front boundary line than your current family requires, and he's less than the 200 feet or whatever it is to the neighboring house.
I just wasn't sure if it's 5,000 feet, on a new structure. Or
I think
existing,
it stipulates after 2012. But that building was built before 2012, so that's how I interpret.
It says 2012 about the open space.
Oh.
I don't think it says that about the side of the building, but that's a question that I can look into for you.
If excess space is an issue, could the common area be,
Well, it says the building, it doesn't specify like how much for the dwellings and how much for other space, like how many.
I was gonna propose talk to the numbers, but like some kind of rec room. Kind of recreational space within the bigger building, that the whole facility would have access to. That would, probably bring it down to like 1,800 square foot units.
well, actually, but the way that does read, it says no multifamily structure shall contain more than 4 dwelling units, nor more than 5,000 square feet. So if it's 9,000, is that a nor, is that an and, or that's an or?
Well, that's a question I have to look into.
Because if he's only putting 4 in, it's not more than 4.
Yeah, it's an existing structure, so I didn't construct it. It's existing non-conforming structure. Is that something you would vote on, or is that something that's black and white, like you have? I don't.
We would be asking the town attorney how to interpret that with reference to that building. And then I would let you know, and that might be something you would, depending on the outcome of his, whatever he says, you might go to the CBA if you wanted to, but I don't, depends on the outcome. I don't know what the town attorney will say.
So, Mark, what you just read was per structure,
Yes.
right? The limits, the 4 units, 5,000 square feet per structure.
Correct.
So is there a limit on the number of structures that can?
It's based on the acreage, so your multifamily structure can only have 4 units. And then the structure itself has to be so far apart from the next structure, and you have your setbacks. So that would basically tell you how many units, when you factor all those other things in, all your other standards.
Yeah. All right.
And it does say, I'm sorry, I'm gonna correct it, maximum allowable density shall be 1 dwelling per 1 unit per acre of contiguous buildable area, so it does have a maximum.
So in this case, between 10 acres, you have a maximum of 10.
Well, it depends on his buildable area. So we don't know the buildable, because we don't know how much of that slope. And not all slopes are unbuildable. You have a standard, we have to go through it's been a while since I looked that up, but I think you have a standard in here on what's considered buildable. So some of those slopes would not be considered buildable. And I wouldn't base it off this map, and you want to have real data from the.
So because he's proposing 8 units total. 8 units of, or 8 acres, he's saying that he was building buildable area on that parcel. You get that he.
Right.
Okay. So if there's only like 6 acres buildable, you're looking at 60 units.
Right. But.
Yeah.
All the slopes, it's only a slope over a certain percentage or certain slope are considered buildable. And wetlands are considered unbuildable. So if there's wetlands next to the water, that would deduct from your buildable area.
The slope percentage in question is 30%. Slope greater than 30% is considered a steep slope. And
That subdivision or zoning.
zoning,
So
and
everything
that's
less than that is not considered unbuildable.
yeah. 30%.
So that anything not that steep is still considered buildable.
It's also defined in buildable acreage, gross zoning definitions.
Good question. Nothing to find.
I don't think so. I think a little bit of clarity, I mean, ultimately I'd have to get a survey before. Having the 8 units, I mean, I think it's pretty close. I think it's possible, I don't think that there's 2 acres. What's the setback, what is the setback of the wetlands on the feet?
It's 100 to a wetland, 125 to a water, right?
It's 125. That's the regulated area. You could still build in the upland review area.
Yeah.
It means to me the wetlands to do that.
I don't, it doesn't say that upland review area is wetlands.
Yeah,
So
technically
It's
buildable.
only deducting what's actually wetlands.
Yeah.
Or steep slopes over that 20%. So the upland review area, that space between the edge of the wetlands of the water course out to the 125 feet, that's not all wetlands.
Yeah.
It's considered buildable unless it's too steep.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I think it's close, I think. Some possibility, I just, without surveying.
Okay, any more questions? If you have questions, you can call the.
Yeah,
But special permitting is going to be
Yeah.
really dealing camera.
yeah, well, thanks for hearing me out.
Great, thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
Okay, now we'll move on to the setting the July 3rd date. That month, we have meetings on the 3rd. For the 3rd and the 17th, we need to change that. On the 3, we is that our planning meeting, or we move it?
I don't want to do it on the 10th. Like with another meeting.
Okay, that's another question. So I will probably not be here on the 10th, so.
Other than vacation.
Yeah, I'm away that week.
Tell we schedule it for the 17th and,
It's already.
Yeah, we have our regular meeting, but this is the planning meeting.
yeah, I'm sorry, I meant the 24th, and then maybe decide on the 17th whether to keep it or cancel it.
Yeah, we could do that.
I think there's 5. Is it 5?
Yeah.
Or just move it back into, make it a week earlier if I can't do the July, just move it back to the June 26th. Which would be just a week after our regular one in June, but then as long as we set a date, if there isn't much on, we could always.
Well, I forget the planning meetings. Maybe we could ditch it now, or we could plan it. And we could, wait, we can't do it later.
If something comes up, we could always schedule a special meeting, have a couple days. That's
Yeah.
all.
But let's. June, July is a big travel time for everybody. Let's set it for the 26th, maybe, and then we'll look at that on the.
No, well, June 26th, right?
No, you're not talking about June.
So I will say, I don't remember, but the June 19th meeting, that's a holiday, and so that got rescheduled. I don't know if it got rescheduled or canceled, though, I can't remember.
Most of them we schedule.
So if we rescheduled it, it would have been rescheduled to June 26th.
26th.
So,
Well, we could have two meetings the same night.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move it to July 24th then, and then on the 17th, we can decide if we need a planning meeting or not.
You already have one scheduled for June 26th, because you moved the 19th to the 26th, according to the calendar.
Yeah, that's why we're moving it. We're not gonna move it back, so we can't. And are there conflicts with other meetings on the 24th? I don't have my calendar up.
July, no.
So we could still have, we could just do the planning meeting after our,
Yeah,
just the regular meeting, because then it's 5 weeks, so then. it's
Or you
still-
could cancel it and just decide to schedule a special meeting on the 17th if you need to meet.
we're meeting 17th already, right?
Right, so if you canceled the one on the 3rd, then you could decide at your
Yeah.
17th meeting if you need to meet again and just have a special meeting. You can do that at a later time. So you could just cancel this one and then decide on the 17th if you need to meet.
That's something that agreeable to everybody? We have a motion?
So moved.
So the motion.
You get done with the motion was?
Cancel.
You moved second? I think.
Oh, yeah, we would just agree with you.
Who moved the 2 seconds?
Mark moved it.
I was first, you were second.
And this is to cancel the.
Cancel the July 30.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Don't move. On to, home occupations, if they, none? And then we go to budget review and bills, and not. We have bills and stuff coming.
We have, budget items in the packet, but. That corresponds.
We have, anybody have any questions?
Only that we haven't, according to the budget, we haven't spent any money.
That's what I don't understand. It says we have the budget and notices. I'm probably just being that. It says printing notice.
We used to have a report that would print that would show the total of all of your bills that you paid. So I know you paid some bills, like you paid reimbursed me. So I don't know why it's not showing it.
I will,
That actual reimbursement probably came out of your. An ad for the PZC.
Okay.
So that's not a bill, why does it show on the other accounts?
Yeah.
But you'd have paid other bills.
Yeah.
And get legal notice and. You know.
but I don't know where it shows up. So I will inquire. On the report.
Printed copy here for everybody. I sent it also by email. Just in this past month, for only permits. Carport addition to garage, ground mount solar, which is a popular inquiry. I have a lot of incomplete applications on our desk right now, things going to health district. I think there's about 3 of those for ground mount solar. It's becoming a trend. Deck expansion and accessory apartment and new detached garage. Enforcement matters, as you can see, there's not a spot there because I don't have an update for anybody. It's been a condensed work amount of hours since our last meeting with New Year's, Christmas. I took 2 days last week. So this past week was my first full week in the office since the December meeting. That's not to say I haven't taken a lot of complaints. Some of them are on the fringes of zoning, but they also involve other agencies such as animal control, health departments, maybe state police. We're talking things like hoarding, motorcycle clubs. I have one that has kind of been resolved this afternoon. Property owner with a PDR has a neighbor who says that, hey, I've got a right of way to my landlocked property easement. This PDR guy doesn't know what to do. Doesn't use any electronics, and he's kind of very old school and doesn't understand a lot of what the deed said. I'm in trouble with kind of communicating these issues with Department of Agriculture. Department of Agriculture sent me over all the documents pertaining to that. At the end of the day, I'll be able to tell him, okay, this is the prescription here. In that case, he has to come to an agreement with his neighbor about what this driveway will be. And then the neighbor will have to work with Department of Agriculture to have this new road. But it's listed as a woodlot, this landlocked property, so I don't think it's developable. Prove your path to get back there, get your wood, but it's not an ingress and egress for a single family residential. So these things really, this is 95% crazy inquiries, something new every day, and 5% enforcement when I can get to it. Or if there is jurisdiction for what these complaints are all about. In our statutes, enforcement for zoning is a discretionary activity. There are a lot of mandated activities per state statute. And the mandated things are just always gonna take priority. And then health and safety matters for enforcements are always, receive urgent action. The stuff that's been ugly for a long time, and not hurting anybody, is gonna take a while to get to. I think once we get past this cluster of holidays, and we're back into routine, we hit, what could traditionally be a slow period in the year. That could be the time to sit down and, start sending letters about some of those things. Another thing that's been coming up, hoarding issues are kind of coming to light. Finally, a lot of these things, hoarding is something that takes a lifetime for some people for neighbor people, friends, family to find out about it. I participated in a statewide hoarding task force for 5 years before I started working here. And the best approach to handle this is a task force, and that's your fire marshal, your building official, your zoning officer, health department, animal control. Zoning isn't gonna make any changes. Any one of those agencies on their own isn't gonna be able to affect any changes. But a coordinated effort to tackle them one by one is how you eventually turn it around. Jay Swan and I were talking about this quite a bit before he passed. And I'll be approached it with Chandler. And I'll be pushing for that kind of task force to form. It's estimated, I think, more like 2 to 5, but it's estimated 2 to 8% of the population in general is affected by this. You just don't see it until there's a service call. Usually, and it starts young. You don't get to see it until they're elderly and there's a service. So this is going on around there. And these people need help. It's more than clutter. It's a situation that they put themselves into danger with. So I hope to make progress on some of forming this task force in the next 6 months. Another thing that's coming to light, a lot of people are asking about their permits that they got in 2016. That state statute extended the life of for 17 years due to the COVID economic downturn. So I've got zombie permits coming left and right, or inquiries about is my permit still good? On top of what seems to be an increase or steady activity permitting wise, at least with the Wetlands Commission. They had, I think, 6 or 7 on their meeting last month. I took in 3 wetlands applications today. Those things are going to turn into zoning applications, but that commission hasn't stopped. They had double the applications they had last year. That's easily the most they've had in a year since the 2007. 2008.
Can I ask you a question? How many are you handling with agent approval?
It's getting to be about 50% now.
So the total number is all of them together, including the agent approvals, or all?
No, so initially, up until I'd say July of this year, the Wetlands Commission wanted to review everything that was in our regulations delegated to me. They'd review it, they say, okay, Dan, do the paperwork. Now they've given me a longer leash, and now I do agent approvals, and I report them back to the commission. They walk through all of them still, they're curious about what's going on. And they'd like to be in the know, to follow up on things when things become issues. We've had various pre-application meetings. I don't know, you know, when they're gonna pop back up again, and I'm gonna have to schedule hearings. Or if they kind of are reconfiguring their plan for something that achieves compliance without going through the ZBA. There's no shortage of inquiries. I brought up, I think there's a staffing hour deficit. Sometimes in the past, my position has been broken out between two people. It's Terry Bellman, wetlands agent / building official, Tina LaJoy as his quasi wetlands agent, Delia's CEO planner, different brains. Doing wetlands ZBA and PZC is a little complex. There's a lot to remember, a lot that I don't know. That I won't remember it unless I'm putting it in practice. And it's a tough way to work, honestly. It's very challenging, and I never knew what a panic attack was really until I started working here. And so I don't want to start doing drugs to be able to do this job. So I'm just trying to do the best I can and prioritize the mandated things and accomplish, stay busy accomplishing tasks. I've always felt I've had a pretty good system, but there's heavy case volume in this town, and it's the kind of stuff that just does not wind up in a report. It's customer service inquiries. And so I brought this up with Chan and Human Resources. I don't know what the solution will be. We don't have the Friday. It's not like I can get more hours that way. One option is to come in on a Friday when there's not going to be a line at the door, and I can accomplish a lot of paperwork that way. Done that a few times, and but that would be substituting a day outside of the office on a normal business day. Right now we're in the mode of trying to make it work, and I'm trying to make it. I know there's a lot of outstanding enforcement things that people see. But some of them been going on for a long time and aren't really going to change overnight. I do understand that the next step of effort is necessary, but how to wedge that in amidst the day-to-day is kind of the challenge. Anybody have any questions?
No, I think you're doing an outstanding job. You're doing a lot of work that, you know, we probably have another person. And we really appreciate it. You're doing great work. And I know sometimes we ask a lot of you here because stuff has gone through multiple zoning officers. So, and we really appreciate the work you do. And it's just, I've been in positions where there's always more work to do. And it's hard. We appreciate it. Great job. Thank you. So I don't. Get it so that it's easier or just doable. Anyway. So I mean, we certainly understand that, you know, there's more work that you can do. And you come here and you have a lot. Every time you're here, which is more time out of the day. That you're and you tell us everything going on.
Anybody's got a question?
Just on the personnel side, it's clear that more help seems to be needed. And if there's a benefit of our commission writing a letter of support in terms of part-time help or some other administrative service that can help you focus more of your time on P&Z issues, if that means someone to take care of wetlands issues with the CBA. I wanted to ask what Tracy's role is. Is she more administrative in the office?
Administrative,
I mean, she doesn't have, training for regulatory or answering these.
no.
Okay,
I mean, there's a party line for basic inquiries, such as livestock, horses, fences, there's some easy ones that she can relay to people. But special permit questions.
Yeah.
We have to send right to, right to NECOG.
Question.
Yeah.
Zoning doesn't regulate anyone, so that could just come right off your plate.
Well, yeah, but I still have to talk to people about it.
Yeah. I understand, but, you don't have to take on that month.
When there's junk there's never just one problem with a lot. Like. The guy with the, there's like 3 steers and 3 calves. Had a big shell of a camper that he was just picking pieces off of siding to build his makeshift fence. Health department needed to be involved because it was, I think, within 100 feet of the neighboring septic. I mean, there's it's not just an animal like that. But I have to deal with the complainant and sometimes the person being complained about, not necessarily about the animals, but other factors that brought me into this. So, yeah, I'm happy to civil matter, civil matter.
Right.
And I do that, but I still have to articulate the points of why I am not the jurisdiction, I have no jurisdiction in that.
which means you're talking to a citizen in Woodstock who's coming to the town hall as an official looking for some direction, and you're responding as an appropriate official, trying to be helpful, even if it's not within your authority. But you're taking your time to speak with somebody or write to them, whatever it is. So, like David said, I think we all appreciate what you're doing and the kind of challenges you're facing. And if there's anything we can do as a commission, maybe to, as I say, a letter of support to Board of Selectmen to say there should be some consideration of some additional help. I think we'd be happy to do that.
Thank you. I'll keep you guys apprised.
Okay.
Joe, you met your hand up, brother?
I was just wondering, how many hours are we paying you now?
32.
32? And there's no way that can be increased to 40?
Well, the operational hours of the town hall, is Monday through Thursday.
Right.
I don't know if they make me work or let me work.
Let you work,
Friday.
yeah. That's a possibility. You could ask the selectmen
Yeah,
or human resources.
even like 2 or 3 hours on a Friday. I mean, it's nice having Fridays off.
Right.
Nice
Well,
to
then come in on Saturday.
I mean, there's nights I stay late, but.
I didn't know if 32 is cut and dried and that's it, period, no overtime, no extra.
Yeah, I'm on a salary,
Yeah,
so not an hourly. I don't know of any other people that in the town hall that have more than 32. I don't know if it's possible. I could ask about it.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, if you're on salary 32 hours, you could at least work more than 32, you're not getting. You understand that?
I just think the same thing is, I mean, can you petition Chandler to come in Fridays, get paid and not sacrifice your Monday through Thursday hours? And as far as the funding, Dave, I don't know what our annual budget is, how much of it we spend, but any surplus, could that be?
I don't think. We have a budget of $2,500, so it's not quite a lot of money. And and as you can see through that, I'm not sure how it's allotted. And I don't know if that's how you have to go through salary and then.
There is, in the land use office has its own budget. there are a couple salary lines that have a lot of money in it that has gone unspent this past year. I believe there's $10,000 related to legal. You never know when you're gonna need it, so, and I think there's 5,000 left, contractual services that from what we were, giving to Tyke.
And I'm assuming that can't be spent the following year. Like if there's a $15,000 surplus fiscal year 24, you can't carry that over to 25 and spend it on you.
I mean, those budget lines will probably be maintained at the level. But I don't think it accrues or carries past the fiscal year.
The line item for, you
Probably bring up.
yeah, so I just, that's my. Not on here, but we have some, communications. Connecticut Land Use Law for Municipal Land Use Agency Board of Commission. It's a webinar, Saturday, March 22nd. Is this the one that was used to be done? on Wesleyan? Yes, I saw it, so this is that, which I've gone down to Wesleyan 1 or 2 times, it's a really interesting meeting. And they'll get us our training hours.
I'm not sure if we'll get all of them, but we'll get the majority of them. They're still deciding whether it's gonna.
Still 4 hours, 4 years.
I'm not sure.
And this one is, unfortunately, it's a webinar. If you did the one 2 years ago, that was the all-day Saturday webinar without the break. That's this again. There is a book that goes along with registration. And the registration is $60. That's March
Which one?
22nd.
The town
Yeah.
covers it, town covers it, so it's really good, I highly recommend it, just about taking Saturday and sitting in front of your computer. Take Saturday, driving to Wesley, sitting.
Yeah, they serve lunch.
Yeah, they did serve. You do get a lunch break for half hour.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, and then. Oh, this is a letter. Chandler sent to extend our PLCD deadline.
What do you?
Which are currently in progress and we'll have the plan completed. Didn't set a date, so that's good. Oh, this is all from Chandler, which I had a discussion with Chandler today. About having a POCD committee to kind of bring all the groups, all the different sections of town together so that we have better plan that wasn't just coming from our perspective. And I said, I thought it was a great idea. And they are looking for people to be on that. So if you know somebody that's interested in doing that, that'd be great. I know we are always doing a lot of work on that, so. That would be, they're looking for volunteers, so rope somebody in and the Chandler. Probably help take some of the load off our back, get the plan in and done. Might have a better idea what the rest, we all look at the planning zone. We've gotten input from wetlands and the ag commission, but I don't think we've got too much from anybody else. Few blips here and there, so. Yeah. You know somebody. I think that's it for communications. And did you email this to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the registration is pretty easy if you use the link in the email. And then, I'm not sure if the process is the same, but the way we did it before was you paid and then you provided, you got reimbursed.
Anybody else have anything? So, no? Citizens, yeah. Thank you. Any citizens' comments? No? Move to adjourn. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, good night.
Night.